The Observer.
And pleasant good evening and welcome to another episode of The Observer with yours truly, Mickie K, right here on Guile TV and on social media. When you get the link, please share. This evening we'll be speaking to Dr. David Lee. He's the UNC candidate for Caroni Central, also UNC candidate for Mayaro Nicholas Morris, UNC candidate for San Fernando West, Dr. Michael Dolaf, and a TV talk show host, Stephen Rees, and more right here on this evening's program. But first of all, don't forget, Strong Heart is an all-natural omega-7 supplement that has been shown in clinical studies to be associated with heart health by supporting healthy cholesterol and inflammation levels. Research has shown that increased blood levels of omega-7s is associated with healthy HDL, good cholesterol, LDL, bad cholesterol, and C-reactive protein. Our sedentary lifestyles, processed foods, and daily stress put our heart health at risk. So to support your overall heart health, keep your love muscles strong with Heart L XL. Pick up a bottle today. We'll be right back after a word from our business partners and kickstart this evening's program.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss. For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel, and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
The Excel brand delivers quality service.
I would recommend Omega XL to everyone.
Take care of yourself, take care of your health with Omega XL.
If Omega XL works for me, it will work for you.
Over a period of time, I started feeling stronger in my knees where I could add more pressure.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
Oh gosh, this place hot. And the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Kane Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air.
Limiting chronic inflammation is important for so many conditions that occur.
I had a lot of pain 4 years ago.
I used to have pain in my knees and my hip.
Taking it for arthritis.
Omega XL saved my life.
Then I started to realize, but hey, I could use my hands, I don't have any pain.
All in all, I am pleased to say that the Omega XL has worked.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one One company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss. For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Mitlin Hardware. Located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Aruka. Mitlin stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with...
Thank you so much, Master Control. Thank you so much. We do have him, a man who is no stranger to the Observer. Let me say a pleasant good evening to UNC candidate for Caroni Central, Dr. David Lee. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mickie K. Let me first say happy Easter to you and your family, and also happy Easter to your viewers and listeners out there.
Thank you.
On a lovely Sunday afternoon.
Thank you so much. Yes, it is a lovely Sunday afternoon, and I want to thank you for taking time out to link with us and to get the information out. So all the best to you and your entire campaign team. First of all, let me start off by asking, how are you feeling with just mere days to go?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think we have 8 more days to go. My campaign team, just came out of my camp, and we were just putting in the finishing touches to our election day machinery and just doing some dry runs in respect to that. We have a couple more days this week where I will continue my walks throughout the constituency. I have great people of Caroni Central. I've met some great, fantastic constituents. And tomorrow we have a motorcade plan as is Easter Monday throughout the length and breadth of the constituency of Caroni Central.
Give us an idea, I mean, your interaction with your, future constituents that you'll be representing. What are some of the things that stands out the most as far as what are they asking for? What's the request?
Firstly, let me say, since I started my engagement with the constituents of Caroni Central, it has all been pure love that I've been receiving from them. Given even the hardships that they might be facing, it's been pure love that I have received so far. There are 2 or 3 major items for the people of Caroni Central. Number one on their priority list throughout the length and breadth, not only certain areas, but the entire constituency of Caroni Central, Mickie, is water. That has been one of the biggest concerns or issues, hardships facing the people of Caroni Central. And I just want to elaborate. Caroni Central, from the north, I would say from Edinburgh 500, Carson Field, to the south, I would say Grand Couva, Presade area, and then you have the east in Flanagan, and then in the west in Mission Road on the highway. Those areas only get twice a month water. Every 15 to 16 days they get a supply of water, pipe-borne water, for approximately 6 to 7 hours. So twice a month, just think about it, twice a month, the people of Caroni Central gets water every 15 to 16 days. That is unbearable. That is, I don't even want to use a word on your program.
But let me ask you, have you figured out what is the genesis of that? I mean, what's causing that?
Right. So it so happened that a few days ago I met the past minister, Ganga Singh, who was at one point in time between 2010 to 2015, he started off the CEO of WASA, and then he went on to become the Minister of the Environment, which included WASA. And I was asking him, what was the reason? Because everybody is saying when I walk that constituency, and I've done maybe about 70 to 75% of the constituency so far, and this coming week I'll complete the 25% remaining. they are saying between 2010 and 2015, they got a regular supply of water throughout County Central. From since 2015 to present, they get twice a month. And Ganga Singh was telling me that, you know, during his tenureship, the People's Partnership, they grew the production of water. They had a lot of projects taking place to assist areas getting water. And what you see happening, in my view and the people's view, between 2015 to now is that the water is being diverted to other areas of Trinidad, who get a better supply, maybe 24/7, at the expense of constituents, the constituency of County Central. So there is not a fair distribution of the water system in our country. That is why you see certain areas, I would be bold enough to say UNC constituencies are suffering for water. When I was the MP for Point-a-Pierre, especially in the Clapton Bay Soledad area, it was the same issue with water. County Central has the same issue for the last 10 years with twice a month with water. You have Cooper South having problems. When you check Faizabad, Oropush West, Oropush East, Naparima, when you check, those are the constituencies held by UNC membership. And the one has to be it has to be geographical discrimination taking place in the distribution of water. And that must stop, Mickie K, because it is untenable that people are paying their water rates, they're paying their bills, yet they only get a supply of water twice a month. And when it does come, you only get it for 6 or 7 hours, and you have to pull up all your tanks, wash your clothes within 6 or 7 hours. It is untenable, and that must stop by our water authority, which is WASA. It has to stop. Because why during election time, it is not happening right now, but there are certain parts of Trinidad that is getting water that never used to get because it's election time. It is untenable, and that discrimination must stop. It must stop.
Yeah, one would think, listening to the program, I'm sure many people are thinking that there may have been some sort of challenge as far as getting an adequate water supply into the area. There may have been a challenge with machinery or perhaps something that need to be shipped from abroad. But when it narrows down to what we've been hearing for quite some time, this geographical discrimination based on the fact that they are not our people or whatever the case may be, really highlights the fact that there's not an understanding that when elected, you are to govern for all of them.
That's right.
Even the folks who didn't vote for you. Now taking that in consideration and witnessing for yourself firsthand, what are some of the changes that you, of course, coming in as the winning candidate, as the new MP for the area, what are some of the first things that you would start making happen to ensure that they do get an adequate water supply in the area?
Well, Mickie, I'm hoping that the UNC and the coalition of interest would be in government on April 29th. And just being in government, you would see the political will, and there would be an equitable distribution of water throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And I promise the constituents of County Central that if we go into government on April 29th, I am going to guarantee them that they will get a better supply of water than twice a month. And it will continue to rise after that. But it's unacceptable. Now, if God forbid God took out of our thoughts and we go into opposition, I will be with the constituents of Karen. I will be so vocal on this issue that I will not allow whoever is the Minister of Public Utilities, rest. And I want to guarantee the people of County Central that I will be a thorn in the side of whoever, of the Public Utilities Minister, whether it is a UNC coalition of government or otherwise. But it is untenable. But I want to guarantee that once we go into government, there would be a better supply of water for the people of County Central. It is really untenable. It is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It is heartbreaking.
No, looking at it from the fact that they're not getting an adequate water supply, has it affected, has there been a domino effect in other areas as far as farming, agriculture, and what have you?
Well, even in the arena area, which is the highly dependent, is a farming area. And we're now during the dry season. I mean, they have to ration the kind of water supply that they have to for their crops. I mean, it is a domino effect. Yes, you are correct. It's a domino effect in the Caroni Central area, that is in the arena area. It is highly farming. Carson Field is another farming area. And it does play a part in the production of food because of the lack of water resources in that particular area. So again, it is hard on the people. And when you look at what this government, Stuart Young, is offering the people, that he will make a change, there will be no change under Stuart Young. It will be the same players, that they would be in place, and it would not change because they do not have the political will to govern our country or to make our lives any better. They don't have that political will. We didn't get it in 10 years. We won't get it in the next 5 years if Stuart Young is the Prime Minister.
And I'm glad you raised that. I mean, again, interacting with people, there may be some who say, listen, this narrative about this new chapter, we're hearing about this new chapter, this new way of doing things and what have you. Have you heard from people who may be buying into this or simply rejecting it outright?
Well, I have not heard throughout Caroni Central. All I've gotten is that they want a change in government, and that is their focus, to change this government through my interaction with the people of Caroni Central, even my interaction with people outside of Caroni Central. It is about a change of government, and they don't see anything. They're not buying into this new chapter logo or phrase that the PNM is using, because it's all pie in the sky. It's all lies. It's not any new chapter. I mean, that individual, Stuart Young, was handpicked and foisted on the people of Trinidad and Tobago by Rowley. So there's nothing going to change. Rowley is still the de facto Prime Minister calling the shots. Because, I mean, let's face it, Stuart Young does not have the political acumen, doesn't have the political experience. Stuart Young doesn't have the experience in governing anything. So it is not the right individual to put to govern our country. Our country needs experienced leadership.
Yeah.
People who have a proven track record, like Kamala Bissessa. She did it with her team in 2010 to 2015, and she'll do it again on April 29th for the next 5 years and beyond.
Now, you are the Shadow Minister of Energy, and I need to ask you that the 100-page document, which makes up the PNM's manifesto, there's a promise, initiative to balance domestic energy security with export competitiveness, ensuring sustainable gas production, supply chain efficiency, domestic petrochemical production, and liquefied natural gas, which is LNG, export capacity and infrastructure with stable supply, competitive pricing, and increased local value added before export. Did we miss something here? Did our energy sector have a big shift sometime in the past 2 or 3 days? Because many of these things will require, of course, the same global market in order to have the export competitive that they're looking for. And of course, there needs to be a great supply of what needs to be there in order to even have the domestic petrochemical production. What say you, pie in the sky or just simply verbal acrobats?
Let me put it this way, that wordy sets of sentences and words, that meaty sets of words and sentences that you just used from that PNM manifesto is just all hogwash. I mean, those are my words, right? It's a lot of cuckoo. It's a lot of cuckoo. Because they were in control of our energy sector for 10 years. They did nothing in our energy sector for 10 years other than play with Maduro in the hope of getting the Dragon gas field going, and then when that was a bit shady, decided to look at the cross-border with mannequin and coquina and so on. But it's all, they neglect, and I keep saying it, for the last 10 years, this PNM government, led by Rowley and Stuart Young, have neglected our drilling and trying to get our production up in our own territorial waters for the last 10 years. They have neglected our own territorial waters. If they had done a boat, meaning that they had ramped up our exploration within our own territorial waters, and also deal with the Maduro government, we might be in a much better position today. What they did is they spent the last 10 years dealing and dancing with Maduro at the expense of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And we must never forget that. They destroyed Petrotrin, this PNM government. They shut it down so we lost our fuel security. We have to purchase our own fuel using our scarce U.S. foreign exchange resources to buy finished products in the open market at the open market prices to sell in our local gas stations. They have destroyed our oil production, and gas production has been at the lowest producing since we got into oil and gas. It is the lowest under any for more than 100 years. And Stuart Young and Rowley is now coming to tell you they're going to do it any better. They destroyed our energy sector in 10 years. How are they going to improve in the next 5 years? What are they going to do different than they did in 10 years? Are they going to go back and dance with Maduro again if you give them a chance? Or hope that the Trump administration lifts the sanction or plays with Maduro and hope at the expense of our standard of living in Trinidad and Tobago? They destroyed, Rowley and Young destroyed our standard of living over the last 10 years, and we're going to give them another, and people are saying, they're asking you to give them another 5 years to what, to bury us?
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that one would think that if the Dragon Gas deal is dead, I mean, we all saw what took place there, but there were very few options that were mentioned as far as what would be the contingency plan moving forward, and yet still there's nothing in the manifesto that is laid out by the current administration that shows that that is the path that we're taking, and that's the direction that we are going to in order to rescue what's taking place in the energy sector. I mean, as far as savings and management and so forth, we're not hearing those things.
When you look at their manifesto, it is just words that they're using to fool the population, and I have to keep repeating. They broke all their promises in their past 2 manifestos. They did nothing for the country. When you look at Kamala Persad-Bissessa's mini manifestos, it's very clear, concise, and to the point, where we said that we will not bring back property tax. We will have a dialysis center. We will have health centers 24/7. We will not put taxes on your pension. We will ensure that your pension is protected. It is clear. It's clear. And Kamala Persad-Bissessa did it in 2010 to 2015, and she will do it again. So that I listened to a video, a taping of Stuart Young, and saying, he's saying that the UNC government is offering public servants and police officers to start negotiation at 10%. And he is saying in that video, and the PNM is offering you to start at 5%. Now, this is the only Chinese I know that doesn't understand maths. If he's saying that 5% is better than 10%, I don't know those maths. He's the only Chinese I know that cannot do maths.
What stands out as well is that, it makes you think about the upstream business here, because are we going to see the good old boys, people who are going to benefit because some people will recuse themselves from cabinet in the interest of others who will now be part of the industry, who basically have no proven track record, no experience whatsoever, but is being called in to deal with the upstream part of this business and taking full advantage of it?
I want to say If the Kamala-led government goes in on April 29th, you will see a better, you will see an energy sector that will be vibrant. You will have a proper local content. We will work with our energy companies to ensure that we can ramp up production and exploration within our own territorial waters, because there is sufficient there here to meet our needs at this point in time. It just needs the incentivization that this PNM government neglected. And all of a sudden, when the Maduro dance failed, they are now coming in the last 3 or 4 months to say they are now trying to ramp up production and incentivize within our own territorial waters, which we kept saying that should have been started since in 2015, a continuation of what the Kamala Prasad-Bissessar-led administration did between 2010 and 2015. That is why we were able to survive over the last 10 years based on the work that she would have done in the energy sector. So you see, government is a business. I keep saying government is a business, and we have to build on each administration, not destroy the administration's work. So that energy is our lifeline, our greatest source of revenue. We have to, or any government has to continue the work, not at the detriment of what this government did of shutting down a refinery, sending home over 5,000 workers, then going and dealing and neglect our energy company and go and dance with Maduro and in that hotbed of what is Venezuela. I mean, it is unthinkable what this government did, and then this government was telling us, follow them, trust them. They know what is good for you. This is what Rowley and Stuart Young was saying. We know what is best for you. It has failed, and now they're coming to ask this country and you, the voters, for give me your vote for another 5 years. They have failed as a government, as an administration over the last 10 years. What else can they offer you that they did not do in the last 10 years? They did nothing. Our education sector is in shambles. Our health sector is in shambles. Our infrastructure as far as roads, the network is in shambles. Our economy is in shambles. Our foreign exchange, you can't get it. You know, you name it. Every sector. Our public utility sector, we cannot get water properly to a fair distribution. Every sector in our country has been destroyed by this PNM administration.
And you're so right about that. And looking at so many things that are taking place and just mere days away, the choice has to be made by the citizens once and for all, whether they want to continue or they want to usher in good governance once again into this country, led by Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and the UNC. So, my friend, any closing comments? Go ahead.
All I would like to say, Mickie K, I want to say to you, listeners, I have been so warmly welcomed in the constituency of Caroni Central. Yesterday, I had a tremendous walk in Edinburgh 500, which is a stronghold for the PNM, and I was amazed. I did a 4-hour walk throughout Edinburgh 500, Mickie K, and I was amazed by the warm and the fantastic reception I received in Edinburgh 500. And if that is a sign, it augurs well for what will happen on April the 28th. And I am sure if it augurs well for the results of the night of April the 28th.
Thank you so much. Best of luck to you and your entire team. And the last stretch, bring it home. That's all we can say. Thank you so much. Take a short break. When we come back, UNC candidate for Mayaro, Nicholas Morris, right here on The Observer. We'll be right back.
Limiting chronic inflammation is important for so many conditions that occur.
I had a lot of pain 4 years ago.
I used to have pain in my knees and my hip.
Taking it for arthritis.
Mickie K saved my life.
Then I started to realize, but hey, I could use my hands, I don't have any pain.
All in all, I am pleased to say that the Omega XL has worked.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after-sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
Oh gosh, this place hot. And the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Cane Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air. For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Mickie Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Aruca. Mickie stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water taps, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel, and topsoil. Also check out Mickie for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Mickie.
And we're back. Thank you so much, Master Control. Joining us is a gentleman, a young man. He's very, very bright indeed. I want to tell you just a bit about him. He holds an MBA in oil and gas management. He's a former Commonwealth Youth Ambassador and Commonwealth Youth Parliamentarian. He served as chairman of the UNC National Youth Arm from 2011 to 2015. Yes, and he is now the winning candidate. Well, he's on his way to win for Mayaro. Let me say a pleasant good evening to Mr. Nicholas Morris.
Hi, good evening, Mikey, and good evening to your lovely listeners, viewers. A special good evening from the constituency of Mayaro.
Great. Tell us, I mean, since you started interacting with the goodly people there, the proud people of Mayaro, what are some of the things that you've been bombarded with as far as requests, their concerns, their interests? Please share with us.
Sure. Well, I've just completed a walk in Mahabal Singh, in an area called Mahabal Singh. Now, the Mayaro constituency has a diverse group of issues. You have the Mayaro part of the constituency into Guayagüeyari, Galiota, where it's the energy hub. And I keep saying, because this government has crashed the energy sector, there's a lot of hopelessness, a lot of unemployment, and so on in that Galiota, Mayaro, Guayagüeyari region. Then you come into the Rio, the Masaking, Rio Claro area, you come into Mahabal Singh, into Nava, going to Beach. And these are the areas where it's the agriculture and so on. So it's the major issue there is the infrastructure, the lack of water, the lack of proper roads, the lack of access to water, as I said, the lack of proper access roads for farmers. And the whole issue here too is a lack of maintenance of the basic infrastructure. The people of Mayaro have been neglected because of the PNM for the last 9 years. The biggest issue here, Mikey, one of the most troubling issues is that in 2025, in the digital age, You have streets without pipelines, not even water without pipelines. And then you have streets and areas such as in Mahabal Singh where you only have water once a month, Mikey. This cannot be in 2025. This cannot be a government where Marvin Gonzalez is seeking re-election. And after 9 years, you have the constituents of Mayaro begging and pleading for water. This cannot be a PNM government seeking re-election with people like Rohan Sinanan, who has neglected the roads of the Mayaro constituency. Worst of all, Mikey, and I speak from a place of anger, the Prime Minister is Stuart Young, who is the Gary Sobers of the government. He's the Minister of Energy. And right here in Mayaro has suffered a lot because of the gamble and drug, and they have neglected oil and gas exploration for 9 years. And that has reduced Galiota to a ghost town. What does that mean for Mayaro? It means many of the people who, like my father, would have worked in the service companies such as Cameron and Kenson, they've lost jobs. No longer could you go on the Galiota port for a day's work. Mikey, it's a lot of issues. But the major thing here is that people want basic access to infrastructure, they want basic access to basic amenities, and they want good governance. But I could tell you the good news, Mikey, and you'd have seen it on The Guardian today, despite The Guardian still trying to hide the facts. They put the headline at the guy that there's a tight race, but when you watch 45 to 30, there's a 15% gap between the UNC and the PNM. The UNC is on par to win the election. That is not tight. The feedback on the ground is people want a change, and people want Kamala Prasad Bikasa.
Now, you did mention Beach, and I have to mention it because someone has been asking me all along, when I get Mr. Morris on, please, the road to Beach. They say it's terrible, it's dilapidated. What? I mean,
Mike, let me tell you, I've spent Good Friday. I was in Beach at Jairam Ground, where I spent evening with a family day there in Jairam Ground. The day before Holy Thursday, I walked the beach community, and then the week before, I was also in Navet. These are the adjoining communities there, Beach, Navet, and I can tell you, the roads are deplorable. There's a road when you're going back to Plumita for 10 minutes there, the road is totally deplorable. There's no street lights. You know, Mikey, this cannot happen in the year of 2025. But I've given the people of Beach, the people of Jeffers, the people of Mayaro commitment that they will have representation. And I've said it on the platform, I've said it at the community meetings. You do not have to come to the MP office for that representation. The MP office will be your garage, it will be your gap, it will be your streets. Because the same way I came to your homes for your vote, I will come to your homes to deliver that level of development. Beach will be part of national development. It will be a priority because Beach has some of the most diverse people in terms of the farmers and so on, and we must give them that representation.
Yeah, as a young man, I mean, looking at you coming through so many challenges, and of course, you know, finally getting this opportunity to serve and deliver to the people of Mayaro, I know that you would have a message and a plan as well for young people in that area. We've been hearing all across Trinidad and of course some parts of Tobago where young people feel that there's no sense of purpose, no sense of being, that, you know, even those that are going to school and are graduating, there are very limited opportunities. Looking at it from your perspective as a young man and all that you've accomplished, what can you say to the youths in Mayaro?
Let me first, thank you very much, Mikey. Thank you for those kind words. Let me firstly say, you know, one of the biggest challenges for young people here in Mayaro is that after they fight to become qualified, having to go out of the Mayaro constituency to get educated, to get qualified, which is a struggle. They then have to come back to Mayaro and get a job either in San Fernando or Port of Spain or way out of the Mayaro constituency. The opportunities for the young people of Mayaro are not in Mayaro, and that hurts. And it is time that the people of Mayaro, the young people of Mayaro, have that opportunity at their hands. It is time that they are the ones given the opportunity to manage the oil and gas companies here, manage the service industries here. And the political leader has given three major commitments. The first commitment is to expand the GATE program, expand the laptop program, and expand TechBook, which will help the young people. But also, through the support of the political leader, we crafted, which we put out this week, a special plan for Mayaro. And the Mayaro Technical Institute, which will be launched under the UNC government, the incoming government, which will take office next week, Tuesday, Mikey. The UNC government will launch the Mayaro Technical Institute, which will teach or train young people in the area of petroleum engineering, petroleum skills, hospitality, environmental studies, and aviation studies, and other technical and vocational studies, which will empower the young people of Mayaro to become trained and qualified. And when the political leader, the Prime Minister, she will be next Tuesday, works on energy plan to get Galeota going. When we implement our agricultural plan and our tourism plan, you will see jobs flow for the young people of Mayaro. And the young qualified people of Mayaro will now become the leaders and the directors of their own destiny here in Mayaro. This is a fight to make sure the people of Mayaro can chart their way forward. The people of Mayaro can benefit from their own resources. No longer, and I want to send a firm message to BP and Shell. For years, BP and Shell have come to Mayaro and taken our resources. And there's a huge question, I will pose that question, on their delivery of local content to this constituency. For too long, and I see it here, for too long, some of the people who have been the closet supporters of Stuart Young, the handshakers of Stuart Young, who live in Port of Spain, have come and taken from Mayaro, and they have not given back to Mayaro. That is why the political leader has said that she's going to form a parallel energy chamber to represent the service companies, the small companies. So we will represent the small man of Mayaro, which by extension will empower the youth of Mayaro.
Well, there are two things there that you highlighted, which I want to focus on. Number one, just talking about the people who are coming in. I did pose this question earlier on to Dr. David Lee, he, of course, being the UNC Shadow Minister of Energy, that when it comes to the upstream businesses, many new faces are coming on board. A lot of the old contractors have been have been laid off. Their workers on the bread line, but now you have people who don't have that expertise and have that track record of being in the energy sector, who are now coming in and, of course, eating at the trough, as they would say. What says you? I mean, there must be some sort of policy to that to prevent this from happening. And secondly, you mentioned, of course, the companies of Shell and BP. They, of course, will say, listen, we have a corporate responsibility. But if this has been happening for far too long, then who was responsible for accountability, holding these things accountable and demanding transparency that whatever corporate donations were made were to benefit the people of Mayaro? Where did the ball drop in all of this?
What I can tell you, the ball has all dropped under the last 9 years when Keith Rowley and Stuart Young paid little or no interest to our national energy sector. It's all been about Venezuela. Mikey, the gas production, the oil production in this country is at a 60-year low, 1949. We are at a level that we are so low, we are the same level we were before independence. The oil has dropped across the energy sector with Stuart Young and Keith Rowley. And when that ball has dropped with both of them in the last 9 years, every single element across the energy value chain, from local content to employment to incentive and production, have all fallen by the wayside. That is the reality. And the people of Mayaro, the people of Trinidad and Tobago have all felt the pinch. What needs to be done now is we need a holistic approach to go back to the drawing table and sit together, especially what the leader of the opposition has proposed in terms of her commitment to create this parallel energy chamber. And at that table, we analyze local content, we prioritize local content, we prioritize communities, and also we protect the multinational companies. They are still key to our oil and gas production. But we must sit together and look at how we build together. And that is the main thing right now.
And I think that makes sense, really and truly. If that is your vision, that really and truly makes sense. And we can see the logic in that, where both parties sit down and say, listen, this is what we want, and based on your corporate responsibility and the fact that we as the constituents and the good people of Mayaro, we simply don't want to see the resources leave on a daily basis, and the opportunities are not there for us. And I think that makes sense. It's quite similar to what we've been seeing in Sangre Grande, where many of the resources, the aggregate and so forth, are taken out and yet Sangre Grande does not benefit. So I want to say hats off to you for, being strong on that issue and standing up for it. Now, there must be some other issues. Now, poor infrastructure for sure. We know that that's on your agenda to fix. You spoke about Beach and what have you. You spoke about the opportunities for the proud people of Mayaro. Tell us the issue of crime.
Yeah, the issue of crime, it's a national cancer. I mean, the issue of home invasion, extortion, it is a national cancer. We have to stand, and standing against crime needs a holistic approach, which the leader of the opposition, incoming Prime Minister, has put forward. And that deals with making sure there's opportunities for young people. And once there are young people, opportunities for young people, that will reduce crime because young people can now find the systems needed to put bread on the table, needed to put food on the table, medicines and employment and so on. So the issue of crime, especially within the constituency of Mayaro, is an issue of a holistic approach, not just more support for policing, but more support for the community, more support for mentorship in the community. And that is one of the areas we need to build. One of my hopes is that we must create a bridge between Mayaro and the rest of Trinidad where we can open opportunities to the people of Mayaro. There's a brilliant bunch of people in Mayaro, Mikey.
Oh, yeah.
And we must, as once I'm elected, we must now fight for that opportunity to come into Mayaro and Mayaro to go into those opportunities around Trinidad and Tobago. We have spoken about creating ecotourism in Mayaro, where you have boutique hotels, and that will now create a hub of activity right here in Mayaro for businesses. We have spoken about agriculture, where we can create processing plants and incentivize farmers with AI technology, training and funding to create Mayaro into a national food basket, Mikey. So we have a holistic plan for Mayaro. But I think my major priority, Mikey, I've been campaigning from April 1st to now, that's when I was announced. Right. I have gone from street after street. We still have a number of streets to visit this week. But this is not about going to meet for votes. This is going to meet the issues because we have to sit come April 29th. We don't have enough time to rest. Come April 29th, we must start to deliver on those issues one by one. We must continue to go from street to street because the people of Mayaro have suffered for too long under the last administration and they do not have time to wait another month, another week for delivery. We must start to deliver immediately and it's a back to basic program. Roads, the need for roads, the need for access to water, to street lighting, and then there are the national issues which the political leaders, Prime Minister, will take care of, where her commitment to remove property tax will protect homes. The commitment to lower taxes on businesses will mean that the Rio Claro Business Center and the Mayaro Business Center will benefit from more business opportunities and growth. It means that the leader of the opposition's commitment to reduce food prices, 7,000 food items, will see the people of Mayaro have more money in their pocket immediately within our first 100 days. The commitment of the political leaders to reduce fuel prices means that the people of Mayaro who spend a lot on traveling from Mayaro to San Fernando, to Port of Spain and so on, will see reductions in their cost of transportation. So it's a national and a local level that we'll be fighting for. And I'm confident, given the track record of the UNC, because we didn't just put together a manifesto like Stuart Young last week. We just put together some points he probably doesn't even know what is in there, right? That is Gabriel and these fellas just putting together to make things sound good. No. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and her MPs like David Lee, Dave Tanku, and all of these guys have been putting together issues for months and years because we have been part of the struggle. And our policies today represent the struggle. And as I'm confident that we will address these issues come Tuesday 29th. And I repeat the issue, Mikey. We as a party, we as people and people on the ground must understand that Guardian front page about tight race, there's no tight race. I mean, Mikey, 45 is 15 more than 30. I don't know how you could say that's tight. 45 is more than 30. We've seen the polls. Kamala is polling at 48% compared to Young's 32%. Right? And that is why this week we must stand strong. We must stick together because this is the final stretch, and we must know what we are battling for. We are battling because when the UNC wins, everybody will win.
But very laser focused, I must say. Before you head out, I want to, of course, ask you this because, like I said, people seeing this young man, and, I know the history, I know the background, many do. But tell us, who is, of course, Nicholas Morris?
Thank you very much, Brother Mikey. Let me tell you who is Nicholas Morris. Nicholas Morris was a young man born in the village of Guaguari here in Miaro, the Miaro constituency. I am the son of an offshore worker and the grandson of an offshore worker. So when I speak to you about energy, it is because I have seen my father's coveralls on the line and his red wing boots outside. So I understand what it is to be the son of an offshore worker needing to go to Galiota for a job. I know that it is to take a black man max from Guaguari to Miaro Junction. And that is why I want to fight for all of these people from Miaro to Rio Claro to Beach. But more so, I might be 35 years old young, but I've spent 18 years in the UNC, 15 of which I've spent on the national executive of the UNC. So I understand what it is to be in politics and policy. Most importantly, when I offer myself to serve the people of Miaro, to go into parliament as a parliamentarian, I do so having served as a parliamentary researcher on energy affairs and parliamentary procedure for the last 10 years. So they are assured that when I go into parliament to represent them, I understand the tools, the tricks of the trade, and so on. I have also served as a youth parliamentarian. I have my master's in oil and gas management from the University of Bedfordshire, so I'm equipped to represent them. But most importantly, Mikey, beyond the papers, beyond the experience, I have a heart for development, which we have learned from the political leader, General Kamala Prasad-Bissessa. She has inspired us all for the last decade or more as a leader. And this election is not about Morris versus Patsy or UNC versus PNM. It is about Kamala's compassionate leadership versus Stuart Young's chaos. Chaos which has prevailed for 10 consecutive years, a decade of destruction.
Thank you so much. Hats off to you, and of course, best of luck to you and your entire campaign team. Tomorrow, I believe, the motorcade?
No, my motorcade will be on Thursday. We have been touching flesh till we have a number of communities. Miami is one of the biggest constituencies in Trinidad and Tobago. And I wanted to go and meet people a little more before I drive around. I've been actually in the homes and so on. So on Thursday we have a motorcade, and that motorcade takes us to the Miaro Junction, where we'll have the traditional UNC meeting right ahead of the elections. Miaro Junction is going to be a big meeting, so Mikey, I'm inviting you down there. I know you have national service for the party. I want to congratulate you. You have been one of the people keeping this party going with your eloquent, brilliant chairmanship of our meetings. So I congratulate you and thank you for your years of service to this party, Mikey.
Thank you. So, anyone wanting to get involved in your campaign? Do you have a Facebook page? Tell us quickly.
Yeah. I have a Facebook page. You can look at the UNC candidate Nicholas Morris. You can look for Nicholas Morris on Facebook, by both profiles. Or give me a shout, 265-4453. 265-4453. Shoot me a WhatsApp. I've been giving constituents my number. That's my only number. I'll give it here. Shoot me a WhatsApp. Let's get involved and let's get Miaro going again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morris. Again, best of luck to you. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.
Hey. Master Control, let's hear from the political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad-Bissessa.
We have been conducting our own independent polling weekly, not now, since last year. Everybody say Kamala not ready, we not ready. Well, we ready. We're ready like Freddie and everybody else. So we were doing the polling since last year, and that polling it's been ongoing, updating, and ongoing. Ignore the fake polling and the pseudo-intellectuals behind them who are simply eating our food. I always talk to you about eat our food, people. Our polling clearly shows that UNC will win the general elections in Trinidad and Tobago. Nowhere has the PNM accounted for their failed promises and projects or confronted the problems of citizens. The UN has offered our anti-crime plans, economic transformation plans, healthcare plans, education plans, revenue generation strategies, and citizens will vote for these plans. So if you want to be sane, ambitious, to see real growth, and you don't want to be a victim of crime, decide now to vote for the UNC and our partners and stick with it. Take your decision now.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. First, I want to welcome everybody that is here this morning. Andy, I know you're keeping the fort in the studio. Now, first things first, I want to tell the media and I want to tell the PNMites, don't study Kamala physical health. Study Zami Man mental health. Because we are seeing now, right, that he's dying because we have no gas again. We have no gas steel. Let us see now who he is going to blame for that gas steel now. Every night you get it on a platform or wherever you're getting, you're not talking about what you all did for the last 10 years. But no, everything is Kamala. Kamala can't walk. Kamala can't do this. Kamala can't do that. Kamala can walk. But I want to remind him, Teddy Roosevelt, the 12th president of the United States, was in a wheelchair. And he functioned very good. And nobody cannot deny Mrs. Prasad-Bissessa's mental health. Put that aside now. Shovel it. You understand? Because listening to her, we can hear every plan, every policies that she has for this country. We know what we were experiencing. We were living on a bed of roses between 2010 and 2015. And now we are living on a bed of nails. We are living on a bed of nails, right? Right. Yeah, we got nothing. And I want the people who still on the fence, after all of this, the crime situation, 22 babies died in NICU. That was carelessness by the Singh. And all they can't tell me all is still sitting on no fence. Look at how many people have been killed under PNM watch. How many of our citizens were locked out of the country by Stuart Young. And telling people only PNMites when they call in, and this is no fiction, we heard him on the radio stations, call Jelani of PNM Party Group number 6. Who the hell is Jelani? Look at how long I have been on the radio station begging for Obika family to come back in. You know when Obika family come back in the jump ship? That's to tell you how they're ungrateful. But you know what? Let all the ungrateful ones go. We are cleaning out. We are taking out the rubbish. Right? All we want now is people to stand up with Mrs. Prasad-Bissessa and the UNC and the accommodation and take this party into government. Right? Imagine, not only our citizens, they locked out, he locked out of the country. He left those 4 men in that pipe to die. He did nothing to help them. And because Mrs. Prasad-Bissessa talked about giving them some money, you come in to give them $1,000. But the kicker is, when they win the case, they have to give back that money. Look, Stuart Young, go and shove it. You understand? We are fed up all this stupidness now. Yeah, we are fed up of them now. And this morning, I am calling on all the supporters. PEP supporters, Love supporters, COP supporters. Please go out and vote for the UNC candidate in your area. UNC supporters, I am begging you all, go out and vote for PEP supporters, COP supporters, and when Love is going under the banner of the UNC, go out and vote overwhelmingly. We cannot afford to give back the government to the PNM. Remember, when all you want to stay home, remember what is going to happen to all your pension, right? Rowley went away with $89,000 a month. What did you all get? Absolutely nothing. Not a cent. The disabled, they took away their food card. The disabled is living on $2,000 a month. We know the needs of a disabled person. Is that fair? But it's okay for Donald Cox to wear the long eyelashes, all the weave and everything. But the disabled can't get anything. Not even proper diapers for these people. Yeah, not even proper diapers for these people. So people, I am asking all you, I am begging all you, put aside all your differences, vote for a better way of life, vote for the UNC and the accommodation, because when UNC win, everybody win. And when the PNM win, it's only friends, financiers, and family win. Nobody else. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a good morning.
Mr. Recruit, just stay there. Just want one, just in case they accuse us of propaganda.
Yes.
You said $1,000 earlier that he's allocating to the families.
$1 million, sorry, Mike, I stand corrected.
That's what.
Yes.
And the man,
$1 million.
And the man who is talking about the so-called frailty of the political leader of the UNC and coming up, wasn't that same man who fell off
like Humpty Dumpty?
Yes, a staircase and broke his hand and claimed to be a black belt?
Yeah.
Or did you say
but Leonard,
I just want to make sure.
Didn't Rowley fall down in the banyan?
Oh yes, I forgot.
Right?
And he wasn't...
No, he was good.
Yes.
He don't drink, you know. He does only drink blessed water from the Archbishop.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you so much, Master Control. That's right. So we'll be showing you some of those clips. That was Community Microphone in Europe some weeks ago. Hey, don't forget, folks, Turmeric XL is a once daily turmeric supplement that allows you to get the benefits of a large dose in a very small, easy to swallow capsule. Turmeric XL contains a proprietary ingredient, ultra-curcumin, which has been shown in humans to increase the levels of bioactive curcumin in the blood with 45 times more active curcumin than the competition. So you actually need way more turmeric than you think to see the benefits. So please pick up your bottle of Turmeric XL. That is the answer. Those of you can go on the Guile page if you want to see us. We are having a little audio issue on Real Media. That, of course, will be fixed, but you can come over to the Guile page. We're going to take a short break. Come back. We'll be speaking to UNC candidate for San Fernando West, Dr. Michael Dowlath, followed by TV talk show host Stephen Rees and more. And we'll open the lines to take your calls before we shut down. We'll be right back.
Limiting chronic inflammation is important for so many conditions that occur.
I had a lot of pain 4 years ago.
I used to have pain in my knees and my hip.
Taking it for arthritis.
Omega XL saved my life.
Then I started to realize, but hey, I could use my hands, I don't have any pain.
All in all, I am pleased to say that the Omega XL has worked.
Oh gosh, this place hot and the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 King Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air. For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Mitlin Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Aruca. Mitlin stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel, and topsoil. Also check out Mitlin for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Mitlin. When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now, 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited. TNT's construction boss.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after-sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
The Excel brand delivers quality service.
I would recommend Omega Excel to everyone.
Take care of yourself, take care of your health with Omega XL.
If Omega XL works for me, it will work for you.
Over a period of time, I started feeling stronger in my knee where I could add more pressure.
And we're back. Thank you so much, Master Control. Thank you so much indeed. We have been working around the clock. I want to thank you for your commitment and dedication. Joining us at this time is the UNC candidate for San Fernando West, Dr. Michael Dowlath, a former educator and a man who has really made his presence known in our society by some of the best graduates you can think of. Let me welcome him. A pleasant good evening to you, sir.
Hi, good evening, Mickie K. I'm very happy to be on your show.
Very happy to have you on. I can take it that it has been quite a hectic schedule. I mean, I saw you the other day and it seemed as though you were just, around the clock. We were burning that midnight oil.
Well, it's coming down to the crunch time. It's April the 28th is very close, and you have to ensure that you cover your constituency and you meet everyone and you put everything in place, election day machinery, and so we've been working very well.
Let me ask you, the minute you got the green light to be the candidate, you were out and about, and I know you may have interacted with many, many people. What were some of the core issues that you were bombarded with?
One of the core issues, especially in San Fernando West, would be that, first of all, an absentee MP, they didn't have anybody to talk with. The under-resourcing of the San Fernando City corporations, because there was simple things like this: garbage collection, bulk waste collection, cleaning up drains and things like that. Those were the priority things. And, there was snail infestation, mosquito infestations, rat infestations and things like that. And I was surprised that the normal services of the San Fernando City Corporation were not functional.
Wow. And tell us, I mean, as far as we've got reports of poor infrastructure, inadequate water supply, all of these issues, but you're talking about a member of parliament who is the minister of local government. And one would think that, with him having that portfolio, that San Fernando West would be looked at as a priority.
I agree with you, and it's the gentleman indicated he was a resident of San Fernando, and he was aware of all the issues, and still our constituency starts from Sunset Cove and goes right up along the coastline. On the eastern end is the bypass going up that borders it up to the Guaracara River. And so it's quite diverse. There are many different areas in terms of needs of people, different socio-economic backgrounds in some of the areas. So, you'd have thought that he would have been on the ground.
Yeah, well, that's the impression that many people got, that he was able to connect with a lot of the female constituents, the young people, the most vulnerable. But coming out of what you're saying and what we're witnessing firsthand is that this is an area, of course, that has been neglected for far too long. And really and truly, when you look at it, you're now part of this equation of change. I mean, how does it strike you as to when it comes to April 29th, you're in there as the member of parliament, you're ready to kickstart and hit the ground running. What are some of the things that you would like to see take place in the first 100 days for San Fernando West?
Right, so Mickie K, one of the things I've done in the last 4 or 5 months I've been walking, we've picked up street by street all of the issues and put a team together, and we have developed our own manifesto for San Fernando West. And in it, we have our commitments. And what we did is what we divided San Fernando into 3 broad areas: the northern area, the central area, and the southern area. And we've looked at, you know, all of the various needs and initiatives that we could do, because, you know, one of the things I picked up early, there was so much unemployment for the young people. And a couple of months ago, I got sponsorship for some young people, both male and female, to enter a program where they learn to drive forklifts, and they got certification between 5 to 10 days of tuition and practice. And they didn't need any CXC subjects or anything as a prerequisite. And so we graduated about 9 of them last week. The upcoming week, about 11 of them will graduate. And these people now can go on to work in hardwares, in all the industry where you need forklift driving. And then there's the advanced, you know, the higher training and the tower crane and all those kinds of things. And young people gravitated to it. We have now a waiting list of over 20 or 30 people who are interested. And you know what's interesting is that these programs existed there, but they're not open to most of the citizens.
Yeah, and it seems to be the best kept secret.
That's right. And you know, between 2010 and 2015, I was chairman of the Operation Council, and 2011 and 2015, I was chairman of the Gate Standing Committee, and Gate was open for all these kinds of programs. You know, and that's one of the things now that we have to look at carefully.
Let me ask you, what does San Fernando West mean to you on a personal note? I mean, one has to ask the question because, I mean, when you look at your track record, all that you've done in the field of education, you can simply retire, stay in your comfort zone, but yet still you chose to go out there and serve the people of San Fernando West, come out and deal with all the complexities that politics may bring with it, and as well as the unhappiness as well at times. Why?
I've always had a drive for human development, especially young people. Wherever I was, at the university, or when I was principal at Irie High School, or when I came to Naprima College, I spent 15 years there. I've lived in San Fernando for years. And, you know, I've looked at it as if you could, early on in the development of young people, direct them the right direction. You know, as adults, they will go forth and be productive citizens. I will tell you, when I was at Naprima, I developed our play field at Louis Street with the help of many stakeholders. We had stadium lighting, we put up a stadium there, and the field is right now, it has the only turf wicket in San Fernando, unlike Skinner Park, which you can't even play an intercol match on. Naprima College has a full field, and you have young graduates from Naprima like Nicholas Puran, who is an outstanding cricketer now. We have young people developed like Nicholas Paul. He came in to play football and he went on to cycling. We have a lot of cultural activities, like we joined up with Naprima Girls and went into the secondary school panorama, and young people like Joshua Rigello and all of them came out. So I was always concerned about this holistic education of young people. So when they go out in the society, if they are not able to get a job in one area, they're so versatile, they could create their own form of employment. You know, that whole entrepreneurial approach to life.
Yeah, so that is something.
That's my burning desire for, especially for the future of this country. It's in the hands of these young people, and you have to give them the right value set. You know, the whole thing about patriotism and things like that, and the human skills, the life skills that make them, you know, come out of their cyberspace, you know, their phones and things like that, and contribute, make them socially responsible young people.
Yeah. Well, I want to dive into some of the points here in the manifesto. the Ministry of Education, a key leader in formulating the UNC Strategic National Development Plan. And I mean, it touches on what you just said. It is not one-dimensional. It touches on the fact of the growth and well-being of the young people. Preparation of all children to maximize education opportunities. The UNC will perform the following actions to achieve the universal screening and treatment of children between the ages of 4 to 6, neurodevelopmental, physical well-being, mental well-being, socio-economic well-being, etc. It is expected that specialist consultants will be engaged to assist in planning, conducting initial screening and treatment, training and development of specialists. Why the ages of 4 to 6? How critical is that?
Those are the early developmental ages, and children even learn languages better at that. So your brain is very adaptable. You know, your first set of values you learn at that point in time. And so it's really important to pick up if there are any learning disabilities with the young people, so that they could get the appropriate type of treatment. And you know, one of the things you want to do, Mikey, is this. You want to be able to keep young people within the same stream of education, so that, you know, the others will learn about them and have that kind of empathy and learn to that sense of collegiality with them, and, you know, accept them. When you take children and put them in special schools and isolate them, they don't come into the society and function adequately. Sometimes, you know, you make a little bubble for them on the side. And so society, you know, is judged by how it takes care of the young and the elderly. And so it's really important to pick up these issues, because one of the things we discovered is that, look at the SEA results in 2019. About 19,000 students wrote that the SEA, went to secondary school. By the time last year was 2024, 5 years later, only about 14,000 wrote the CSEC exams. So what happened to that about 5,000 students? And then of the 14,000, just about 7,000 got their full certificates. So what happened to these students? Was it that the system is not suitable to the development of these young people, or is it that there were certain learning disabilities that we didn't pick up and treat initially, so those students could have better adapted and go on to success, both from the primary and to the secondary?
Yeah, I think that, you know, anyone who may be trying to excel in a field and, you know, may not themselves know what the challenges that they may have internally will become frustrated, may lash out, you know, really, because it's just not an environment for where they're learning anything. And once we can detect this at an early age, I think it definitely would help to develop the growth of this young mind, which is something that one would think that we would have already implemented in order for our children to be globally competitive. I mean, it's one thing to have the laptops, which is good, it's all good and well, but again, you're putting it in the hands of young people who were not tested or weren't screened to know exactly at what level they may be and what their learning level will be. So I find that to be very interesting. Also, preparation of parents and guardians to assist children to maximize education opportunity. Now, many times when we hear about the parent coming into the whole equation of assisting and helping to build, you would hear, of course, people say, listen, I don't have the time. I really and truly, I have to provide for the children. I have to put food on the table. I have to, you know, I have to work. You know, how then is this sort of a flexible approach to it?
Yes. So one of the things is that the parent training program will initially be voluntary participation. And what I've found in my experience is that when parents are involved in school activities, when you have strong PTAs and parent bodies, the school then becomes more successful, and also alumni, but especially with parents. And then parents too, they have the children at home, and sometimes they don't know how to support them. So it means, therefore, there are lots of programs in the private sector and some in the government system too. One of the plans is really to study those and look at them and see their suitability and develop standardized parental training programs designed to develop the parents in a particular way. So, you know, sometimes parents not able to cope with the stress of SEA and
You're right, yeah.
you know, and they don't know how to cope with it. And so it means, therefore, now these training programs will start as early with the parents from the ECCE or the what you call the preschool.
Right.
Early, you know, so it's really important to support parents because, you know, they are the first teachers.
Student support, provision of tablets and laptops to facilitate digital learning, research and technological competence, procurement of learning materials such as textbooks for the enactment of the curriculum, establish literacy libraries in every classroom to improve reading and comprehension skills. These are very good. This, of course, have the support system for these students. We didn't have that in my time. But curriculum delivery, it's the activated teacher management and development unit at the curriculum division to facilitate current and future training requirements. How important is that?
This is really important because a curriculum is built like, you know, if you build in a building and you have scaffolding, you have to lay a proper foundation and then you go to the next level. And so the curriculum, as you go through, you call it a spiral curriculum. The foundation ideas, and you would have spoken about the student support. You would see there's a great emphasis on numeracy and literacy skills, especially literacy skills.
Yes.
The language and things like that. Normally you'll realize that even when children can't write using the proper vocabulary, they can speak using that vocabulary. You normally have a larger verbal vocabulary than a written vocabulary. And the thing about it is that when you expose these students to all of these various areas of learning, it also motivates them. And it allows them to also, you know, get areas of interest, look at careers, for their development. So I think it's really important too that teachers must be trained in terms of a modern curriculum to be able to cope with students who are also digital learners. You know, they are digital natives.
Right.
And some of us are, I refer to us as digital dinosaurs, you know?
Yeah, well, it says here, to recruit outstanding retired educators in language and mathematics to continuously conduct workshops and training sessions in these key subject areas. I often wonder, why is it that we have these individuals who came through the system just there with all this wealth of knowledge and expertise, and yet still we don't utilize it, we don't take advantage of it. And it'd be good to see many of these outstanding retired educators return to assist and be part of that support system.
There was always the use of retired people, but this is a more systematic approach where it involves also the mentoring of the younger teachers. Because, you know, some traditional methods work fine. And so together with the modern techniques, if you blend them, you would know even when you are a student, not every single method used by a teacher will cause you to learn.
That's
you know,
right.
the aha learning. So sometimes someone will come up with a different example or a different method, and that is the one that triggers you and say, oh, aha, I fully understand. So that's why it's so important for these outstanding teachers to come back into to the system as part of the mentoring and passing on the institutional knowledge. So the younger teachers don't have to reinvent the wheel. They will say, hey, we know these are the problems. The mentor teachers will explain to them the pitfalls, and these are the best practices. And so the younger teachers can now create what are called next practices.
Oh, wonderful. I'm looking also at the technical vocational education, whereas they establish a full-fledged technical university to provide the highest level of technical vocational training, including a technical vocational teacher training division, independently or in a private-public partnership. That in itself is wonderful, and of course integrate the tech vocation schools into the secondary school system, and students can graduate with a combination of O levels and CVQs at the comparative level. That indeed, that is thinking outside the box, I must say.
Yes, definitely. So, Mike, you remember I gave you the statistics basically about in the SCA, 1 in 3 students reach up to the academic level.
Right.
Happens to the other 2 out of 3,000 of students. And so this will allow them, as they come out of the primary, go into secondary, to find those areas of interest, you know, the skills-based interests, whether it's carpentry, whether it's plumbing, electrical, auto, diesel. You know, there are new areas like gaming, animation and game design.
Oh, yeah.
Designing games. And, you know, one of the things in education is that you try to find the most interesting way to motivate students to learn. Think about something that you may have loved learning in school, you know, a particular subject, and what created that motivation. And so when you expose them early on, you'll see that by Form 3, students will spend 2 or 3 days in their technical vocational labs working on their areas of interest. So you're allowing them earlier now to get exposed to these, and the qualification is called a CVQ, a Caribbean Vocational Qualification. So the fundamentals is you get your math and language qualification, the academics in the CXV, the traditional, because those are the foundation areas. And then you could get your CVQs and you get a full certificate, and then you get these skills. By the time you reach Form 5, you have acquired employability skills, and you work, which is fantastic.
Very, very good, I must say. Right? Really, again, thinking outside the box. And I've got to say that, you know, really and truly, that's all it really takes, having that vision and being driven to say, listen, we are going to make a difference with these programs and policies, rather than just simply trying to recycle, or should I say just going along with the same old conventional methods that has shown that it has not been quite successful for our young people. I mean, it really hurt me when I heard Dr. Rowley say that in the heights of the pandemic, 2,000 fell through the crack. I mean, what crack? You know, as if it was, you know, just a liability being written off of some account. I mean, we're talking about humans, we're talking about young people, and they didn't start off with the feeling that they can just give up. I'm sure at some point in time they were enthusiastic, they were full of energy, but, you know, due to the fact that there was no support there, that they simply just couldn't keep going.
You're perfectly right there. So the system itself has to change into becoming more student-centered. The school fits the needs of the child. In traditional schools, sometimes you have students who, you have science stream, you have modern studies, you have business and things like that. They were put in categories, but you have to realize that students have different intelligences. And therefore now they will want to do a mix. I have had students who have done like Spanish at A level and chemistry and biology, or technical drawing and sociology and things like that. And when you give children what they love to do, they are highly motivated. So when we try to put them into square pegs or round holes, you know, pre-existing, so the school itself has to become more malleable and ductile, more flexible to the needs of the children. And so the curriculum itself that you spoke about earlier has to be more student-centered. And there has to be a lot of training for teachers and administrators to be able to make those timetables, make those subject offerings more flexible for the students.
All right. Any closing comments? Go right ahead.
Yes, I want to say that as we go forward, you have to think about the future. Jobs are changing. The impact of artificial intelligence on learning. Soon, you may not need those hard copy textbooks and things like that. You will have mainly e-textbooks. And sometimes even when you have e-textbooks, they're outdated very quickly. So that what we have to teach children is really how to navigate the internet, and also to expose them to age-appropriate development. Because sometimes students are exposed to things that they can't deal with psychologically and mentally. And that's why you have, I think, that mental stability, that whole issue is really, mental well-being is really important. Because when you have someone who is mentally stable, then you have someone who is prepared to learn.
All right. Thank you all. Best of luck to you and your entire team. Victory is a must come April 28th. And on April 29th, it would be, I'm sure everyone's delight to see you, of course, step in as the Member of Parliament for San Fernando West.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Same to you. Well, folks, that was a UNC candidate for San Fernando West, Dr. Michael Dowlat. We'll be right back after these messages.
Limiting chronic inflammation is important for so many conditions that occur.
I had a lot of pain 4 years ago.
I used to have pain in my knees and my hip.
Taking it for arthritis.
Omega XL saved my life.
Then I started to realize, but hey, I could use my hands, I don't have any pain.
All in all, I am pleased to say that the Omega XL has worked.
Oh gosh, this place hot, and the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 King Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air. For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Aruca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel, and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland. When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now, 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
And we are back. Thank you, Master Control. Thank you so much. You know, we have some great candidates. The UNC has a great lineup. When you listen to these individuals thinking outside the box, we're talking about human index growth as a country. Joining us is a man who is no stranger to the Observer, very outspoken. It's always a pleasure to have him on. Let me wish him a happy Easter. TV talk show host, Mr. Stephen Rees is with us.
Hi, good evening, Mikey, and happy Easter weekend to all of your viewers and everybody at the Observer.
Yeah.
And hope everybody having a safe, enjoyable weekend. We still have one more day to go.
Yes.
One night and one day, I'll be there, long weekends go.
Yeah.
So what's up, Mike?
Well, what's up is we're on the final stretch. The countdown is on. And you and I have been talking about this for quite some time. I think it was only right that I call you before we head straight into this next Monday, of course. We're talking about the general elections, and you know a lot of talk is being bandied about. I know a lot of things stand out for you. What you've been hearing, the narrative is being controlled and managed by the current administration. We see Dr. Rowley is back on the campaign trail. He's back out. He's with them on the platform. He's so popular. He's talking after the Prime Minister select. And you know, when you look at numbers and what I take away all this, the smoke and the mirrors. The core issues here is what's being said. Polls are are coming out via the media. A lot of talk is being laid out as to things are being promised and also being delivered. You have unions like Tutor who are signing on because they're saying, listen, I'm playing for what I see now. I don't know what I'll see, and all of these things. If you had to sum up the tone of what's taking place, what would you say?
Well, okay, a lot to unfold here. I think right now, I particularly, having covered elections, at least the last 2 elections on television, that would have been 2015 and 2020.
Yeah.
For me, I think that the opposition has come across as being very well organized, extremely well organized in comparison to the past elections that I have experienced, you know, with their campaigns and things like that, right? Usually the PNM, from the word go, they out the gate, they book in the ads, they book in the spots, you know, they book in interviews, they know where they want to be, what they want to do, things like that, right? And usually, the opposition UNC, they usually come after, and they always seem to be a little more disorganized, right, than the PNM. The PNM is run like a well-oiled machine. I don't take nothing away from that, from them for that. Give Jack the jacket and Jim the gym boots. But this election campaign, from the word go, I thought that the UNC's campaign has been spot on. I think the slogans that they're using on the ground trending. I think that their marketing, whether it be from the design of the T-shirts to what is being said on the platform, to me has come across far more effective than what I'm hearing on the PNM platforms. I think that they're hitting the key points, the key concerns that the public has. Crime, the economy, you know, youth development, community development, tourism, you know, things like that. Healthcare. The message is very clear and very direct. On the PNM side, though, I'm a bit surprised because I would have thought that they would have been more prepared than the opposition, seeing that they would have known when the election date would have been. But all I'm hearing is they have almost resorted to attacking the opposition leaders, not necessarily her credentials, but capability, her age. I've heard certain things being said on the platform that you know, she can't, you know, like she forgetting, and she don't know, you know, she can't walk alone and things like that. And I just thought that to me shouldn't be the focus of your campaign after you've been in power for 10 years. If you've been in power for 10 years, you're supposed to have a track record that you come to lay out to your supporters and the rest of the country at large and say, listen, this is what we have done over the last 10 years. This is why we want you to vote for us. The conversation shouldn't be around social media personalities or influencers getting allegedly $40,000 to post videos and say yellow is the code. All right? That is not where your conversation is supposed to be. I'm hearing a lot of that conversation taking place. Your conversation not supposed to be revolving around where is the UNC going to get the money to pay the 10% to public servants. That is not your concern. Your concern shouldn't be that on the platform. Your concern is that, listen, we offered 4%. This is why we couldn't offer more. And then you leave it to the unions and they to say otherwise, or the opposition to say otherwise.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And going back to when you started your narrative there, you know, you're right. There was always this feeling that, you know, we're not PNM, but they always had a song. They always had an in-your-face aggressive campaign. You know, you might even find yourself singing it and say, but why am I singing this nonsense for a word? You know, but it was always catchy. And it makes you wonder, as the incumbent, you're so correct. You knew when the date was. You knew everything. Is it that you caught your own self off guard? It just does not make sense. And it shows that really and truly all that they are talking about, who is in experience and age and all of that, that they are showing more than anything else that they are just not capable. After 10 years, you're right. One would think that they would come and say, listen, we saved the country this much. We were able to elevate the citizens on this level. This is our direct investment. You know, what we've done. These are the companies that are now doing. We're not hearing anything like that. As a matter of fact, what we're hearing is that every time Kamala Prasad makes a statement, it seems that Stuart Young and his team is still, all right, you know what, we'll give the divers something. You know what, we'll give the police something. You know what, it's like coming after the fact that she's laid out, you know, on the platform. And that tells you a lot. So coming into the last stretch, one has to say to themselves, listen, I can't put another 5 minutes of my life or my family's life into the hands of these people. They just simply don't know what they're doing. They cannot give us a clear-cut vision as to where we are and how they're going to take us where we want to be. And that's what we're not getting.
And that is where I've always said people have to be honest with themselves. The population have to start telling the truth. Okay, it's like we just said, the current administration, the PNM, they're supposed to come and say, this is our track record over the last 10 years. What you're finding on the platform, and I've seen you on the platform, so what you will find on the platform, I am hearing the opposition leaders say, when we were there between 2010 and 2015, this is what we did for you. This is what we implemented. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
She could go back and reveal and remind people about her track record between 2010 and 2015. And the government of the day does not seem to have a track record, right, to talk about. Now, on top of that, they're using this word responsible, they're throwing around the word responsible a lot, right? A responsible government, and a responsible this and a responsible that. But this is what I want to find out, and I want the audience to understand this, right? Because this is how I think. I was looking at an article with the new Minister of Finance, Mr. Dan Paul.
Yes, Vishnu Dan Paul.
Vishnu Dan Paul, where he has been saying, talking about the devaluation of the dollar, been talking about the IMF and putting us into the hands of the IMF, and that the opposition is not going to be able to afford all the promises that they're putting forward to the public. But my thing is, right, and he went up, I think, on a political platform and he spoke to, because remember, he come back, he now get the job as Minister of Finance, so he trying to at least hold on to it for 5 years. Because he, along with the Prime Minister, might be the shortest serving PM and Minister of Finance that the country ever seen, right? Depending on how things go on in 28. And if we go in with the current vibes on the ground, it is trending more yellow than red. But my thing is this. Kevin Ramnarine, and I'm sure you was in that meeting as well in St. Joseph. Kevin Ramnarine spoke to the audience and spoke to the nation, and he said that according to IMF data, Trinidad and Tobago is the 7th worst performing economy in the world. The Ukraine was performing better than Trinidad and Tobago, and the Ukraine has been at war for the longest while, about 3+ years, right?
Yeah.
And I want people to understand how serious a statement that is. Kevin Ramnarine made that statement, what was that, approximately 3 weeks to a month ago?
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago.
Good, about 3 weeks ago. The former Minister of Finance, Colin Burt, and the present Minister of Finance has not said otherwise. They have not come out and discredited that statement, saying that, listen, Kevin Ramnarine not telling you the truth. For Trinidad and Tobago, and I want to ask you this, Mikey, given the resources that Trinidad and Tobago has, okay, whether it is energy sector or otherwise, right, how could we end up being the 7th worst performing economy in the world? Because I heard Mr. Dan Paul talking about responsible and who responsible, and that this PNM administration is a responsible administration. But when I think about responsibility, one of those responsibilities is the way that the economy performs. So if you have somebody there for 10 years and they have taken the country between 2015 and now to be in the 7th worst performing economy in the world, how could you tell me to go and vote these people back into office because they have managed the situation responsibly? Now you telling me that's in madness and Dan Paul need to get a head check?
Of course. And all you're hearing on the platform is a lot of verbal acrobatics taking place because you are trying to convince us that you did so much to keep the Dragon deal alive. But it failed. Then you started telling us about the history. And then myself and Dr. Rowley, at the end of the day, it failed. We don't need to know the history. We need to know how we're moving forward now. Forget about that. Yes, the past doesn't equal the future. And yes, you shouldn't be ignorant about the past because you're doomed to repeat it. Now we've learned, what are we going to do? You can't tell us. You just simply can't.
And on the other hand, the opposition, you see, with that particular issue, and I've been telling people this, because people have been calling me and they've been saying, but Stefan, the opposition say this and the opposition, listen properly. And that's the problem with people in Trinidad and Tobago on the whole. They do not listen and they usually don't listen to things in context.
No.
The opposition at no point in time said that the Dragon gas deal was a bad deal,
No.
The opposition's issue was that, you're doing business with this man who has Venezuela under sanctions, is deemed a narco-terrorist. There is a bounty on his head, right? It was, I think, 15 million under Biden, and I think Trump raised it to 25 million.
Right.
You are doing business with a man who has allegedly stolen the last 2 elections in Venezuela.
A shady character.
A shady character. His governance of Venezuela has led to millions of Venezuelan people leaving their home to go to foreign lands to seek refuge. Okay? Yet you are consistently in the face of your biggest ally and your biggest export market, because America is the greatest consumer. You are having these conversations and flying down to Venezuela and talking to this man openly and having meetings, and you're running the risk of getting Trinidad and Tobago sanctioned. It was out of concern for what could have occurred. The way that they were dealing with Maduro in Venezuela so openly. It was never a matter of the Dragon gas deal being a bad deal and a deal that wouldn't have been good for Trinidad and Tobago. And this whole nonsense that the opposition didn't want that and the opposition didn't want this and the opposition is not patriotic. Nonsense. And I'm making these statements very boldly today because as I told somebody yesterday, and I want to make this statement on the Observer, and I want people to understand this. I just be on social media and I have my show.
Right.
So somebody told me the other day, Stefan, but I listened to you because you just really be down the middle, but I find you're leaning towards one party now. And when you're on television, you're supposed to be objective. Yeah, the whole story of objectivity, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And my response to them was simply this. Before I am a talk show host, I am a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Meaning that my day-to-day activities, every aspect of my life, is affected by the decisions that my leaders make. We could agree on that?
Yeah.
I am a citizen first. I am a talk show host after. All right? But having experienced Patrick Manning governance, Basdeo Pandey governance, Kamla Prasad Bisesa governance, and this PNM way of governance, I am in a position where I could make a comparison, then narrow it down, well, Pandey and Manning in here again. So this is a straight case between Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who led the country between 2010 and 2015, versus a PNM administration where we don't even know who the leader is. Because we don't know if the Prime Minister is the leader, or if Keith Rowley, we really don't know.
Political leader
right?
is the leader, we don't know.
Right, we don't know how the gimmick going on play off after the 28th, we don't know. Because I call it a gimmick, because I call it for what it is.
Yes.
Right? So I can make a comparison now. And in in my capability of comparing pros versus cons, the 5 years versus the 10 years, the decision is very easy for me to make, and I think it would be irresponsible for me to pretend that I do not have a position and an opinion on the direction that the country should be headed in. And if people vex with me for that, you understand, then that is their business. Because come next week, Monday, whatever decision you make, you're gambling with the next 5 years of your life, maybe 10 years of your life,
That's right.
Right? And you have to know that you're not gambling for yourself, you're gambling for your children. It's generations, it's generations going to be affected by this, the way that we move forward after the 28th of April. And I am saying that I am no longer in a position where I could stay silent, or I could sit on the fence and I could pretend to be down the middle, because a decision has to be made, and I believe that the right decision is the opposition, because I am not impressed with the last 10 years that the government, that the PNM, the way that the PNM has governed the country in any aspect.
And
that's
that's it.
just me being honest.
And that's it. You can't be more honest than that. That's the facts.
But as a fact, people will say the same. I mean, Mikey, I love what you said the other night in Center Excellence. You cracked me up, brother. You know what you said?
Go tell me.
You walk up to the, I think it's Anna Robertson introduced you, and you came up and you said, you welcome all of the UNC massive and so on and so forth. And you said, for those of you at home, do not adjust your television. I am a black man and I'm UNC. I'm nearly dead with that. And this brings me to the next point. This brings me to the next point. When you look at the UNC crowd today, as opposed to the UNC crowd 10 years ago, it is a totally different crowd. It is a very diverse crowd, very inclusive. I am seeing people from all different walks of life, people from all different ethnicities, and they're all coming there together because I think they understand that we need a change. We need some sort of change.
Yeah. You're right.
And I see facts. And on the point that you made with the Prime Minister, with the former Prime Minister coming back on the platform and talking, well, I think that exposes the weakness of the campaign that the PNM running. Because if your campaign was strong and your base is energized with the new Prime Minister taking up his position, you wouldn't need to call on Dr. Rowley to come back and speak on that.
Yeah, because you started a new chapter.
Exactly. You can't say it's a new chapter and you're bringing back the whole leader. The old Prime. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. So you have the old writer writing what? The same chapter and calling it a new chapter?
Exactly.
You said that this man is going to bring energy, whatever you had internally, and the polls say that, hey, you know what, boss, don't go up, because they will reject you. Let's find some other strategy, some other means. That's what they said. This man is new, the new dynamic energy, and yet still you have to bring back the old chapter.
Yeah, and I think it's because, I mean, we hear all kind of rumors about URP and CPEP workers, they're putting them in maxis and carrying them to the meetings. And I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but we heard those allegations. I saw some videos on social media. I heard voice notes to that effect. But to me, if that is true, that means that the campaign is weak, that the base is not happy, and you could understand why the base is not happy. The base is not happy because the proper way of doing things has not been done, and for many of the die-hard PNM supporters, they may feel that the party been hijacked, right? Not necessarily hijacked by Stuart Young, but hijacked in terms of the manner in which things took place. That they totally sidestepped the whole constitution of the PNM, the internal election process. The way that things have to happen.
That's
I
right.
think a lot of the people, they're not happy about it. And I think bringing back Dr.
Stefan, they didn't sign on for that. They did not sign on for that. Who heard of anything about a Prime Minister select?
Yeah.
Nobody ever heard about that. And you have to pay your dues. You have to pay your dues. So you telling me that what? This guy, this Johnny come lately, is better than all the sacrifices that Penny Beckles made?
Yeah, but on top of that, you haven't given your membership a voice. You have taken away the voice of your membership and saying, this is the person we want.
Yeah.
Or this is not, you understand
No,
what I'm
this
saying?
is the person I want. That's what it's saying. I want. This is my guy. Yeah, this is my Gary Sobers. This is the guy that I want. And who don't like it? Well, so be it.
And that speaks to the dictatorial ways that particular individual has governed the country for the best part of 10 years.
So true.
In a very, very dictatorial manner. I will never forget the little 11-year-old boy who, in a home invasion, was back in 2016 or 17 or somewhere around there. So, I can't remember his name right now, but it was a little 11-year-old boy. There was a home invasion, and the bandit killed his mother, or the caretaker, and they slit the little boy's throat. And I remember they asked Dr. Rowley about that in a press conference, and his response was, "We want me to do ban knives?" That was his response to an 11-year-old boy getting his throat slit. "We want me to do ban knives?" That was his response to the reporter. Look at up to Thursday. We're talking about responsible, right? We're talking about responsible governance. We're talking about a government that has made an impact on any sector, right? Whether it be tourism, crime, anything. Look at Thursday. We had men pull up on a man and let him have it.
Yeah.
In the airport, brother.
In the airport.
In the arrival part of the airport.
Right. In the airport.
Men went and put on a hit because crime, and we just come out of state of emergency.
And they do it bold and with all confidence, and that, hey, you know what? We are not going to be caught. Yeah.
So then what was the purpose of the state of emergency?
Just to buy time.
Correct. You call a state of emergency during Carnival. We know that you didn't implement a curfew because you didn't want to disrupt the promoters and everybody in Carnival, because that aspect of things is more important than saving lives. So if you go back to 2020, 2021, and 2022, they hold a million press conference telling us about saving lives. When they lock you down and everything that they did, right?
Yeah.
It was about saving lives then. But when people drop in like flies, you're coming off the back of 624 murders in 2024, the highest ever in the country history, right? And you calling a state of emergency saying that you're going to deal with high-powered rifles, and then you run it from up until April the 13th. You still have over 100 and something murders for the year. Throw in a state of emergency, and as soon as the state of emergency is lifted, you have a man get shot. You have a man get gone down in front of the arrival section of the Piaco airport. Now you telling me this, for that reason alone, 624 murders, highest ever in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. They cannot find a handle or a solution for the crime situation. That alone disqualifies them
to hold office.
From holding office for the next 5 years. Because if you couldn't solve it in 10, how you going to tell me you're going to solve it in 5 more years?
Hey, I got to open up the lines, but listen, I want to thank you so much. You know, we spoke about a certain time, but I know how to catch you again with the time, you know. I know how to catch you. Because these topics, really and truly, you have to try to see how best you can make sense of it for the people who simply do not understand. I want to thank you again, Stefan.
I could mention one thing in 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
I just want to put it across to you guys and to your viewers. Listen, we ain't a lot of talk about the EBC. I saw Wendy Lewis, the campaign manager for John Michael Ali Bokas, hold a press conference speaking of some concerns, right? And plenty of people have contacted me on concerns about the EBC. They cannot steal an election if the margin of victory is too big. If it only when it's close could those things be manipulated. I do not know what is the situation with the international observers. We know that CARICOM observers definitely are coming because I know they can't blank CARICOM. And one of the things that I think the opposition has to do, and they have to do it this week especially, you have a coalition of interests. So you have PEP candidates going up under one symbol, you have COP candidates going up under one symbol, and you have the unions. I think they should put those symbols out in the public space, properly advertised, so that people don't get confused when they go into the booth on the 28th. Because you know, what is simple for us
is
not so simple for other people. just to make sure that people understand that, hey, when I vote for Clyde Elder, I am voting for the UNC Coalition of Interest. When I vote for Philip Alexander, PEP, I am voting for the UNC Coalition of Interest.
Yeah.
So there is no, so people not confused now. So that's just a little.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I believe it's going to be done this week. I agree with you.
All right, man.
All right, my friend.
Thanks a lot for having me, man.
Always. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the Easter.
All right, you too.
Good. Hey, folks, 225-9790. Got to speed it up. 225-9790. And if you don't have, well, we know things are tight. Your WhatsApp calls 494-0938. The lines are open. 225-9790 and 494-0938 for your WhatsApp calls. The lines are open. Want to take your calls. As you know, we're coming down to the wire. Just a few days left. Ah, boy. Yep, there you go. Pleasant good evening.
Hey, good evening, Mike.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
Okay, brother. Tunapuna here.
Yes, go ahead.
Mike, you see what's the difference with the PNM and the UNC, the coalition of interest? Listen to all the different people you interviewed, and all of them coming up with their own initiative, their own ideas of how they would, run their different ministries. Or we come in the MP there. Unlike the PNM, they will just give them something and tell them, hey, go and say this on the platform. They have no, it's a bunch of dunce. They don't have their own issue. But I want to say something, Mikey. You remember just when Marco Rubio was in Jamaica, and Stuart Young went to the meeting, he came back and he told us, that they have nothing to worry about because Marco Rubio gave him the assurance that the Dragon Gas deal, nothing will be, saying they wouldn't interfere with it and whatnot. Bam! Only 2 days or 3 days after, they come and they put this and they cancel the whole thing. Now, why I'm saying this, Mikey, I'm drawing this to your attention. I heard Stuart Young saying that he received a call from the American government, or I think it was Rubio, that is, to discuss again further, to have further talks on the Dragon Gas deal. The contract then, with giving them the license. I mean, could we really take this fella to be truthful, Mikey? He's a notorious liar like his predecessor, Keith Rowley. So I'm saying that he is lying. We have to get first-hand information from Marco Rubio to find out whether he contacted Stuart Young to have any further discussion on the Dragon Gas deal. And finally, Mikey, we have two prime ministers. We have two ministers of finance, and we have two ministers of public utilities. Because here why? This way, we named Dan Paul, saying that the economy bad, this and that, cannot pay public servants or whatnot. Yesterday, Wednesday Express, call me, but TNT revenue has rebounded. And it has positive and whatnot. So who really fooling who? Then you have Marvin Gonzalez, turning the sword on the same stage with him and them for a water treatment plant that they're going to thing, right? Understand what I'm saying? You fail Marvin Gonzalez as a Minister of Public Utilities. Now you together with him and them turning the sword? Huh? I mean, something had to be really wrong. It's a bunch of jokers. We cannot take these people for granted, and I am appealing to the citizens of this country, and as Stefan and everybody rightfully say, it are no fence sitters. The writing is on the wall, so all you come up the damn wall and vote for the UNC and the coalition, my brother. This is the only solution.
Thank
you,
you,
brother. You take care, Mike.
Thank you, my friend. There you have it. That's what we're talking about. Don't waste time. There's no fence sitters. Those who are still undecided. No, this is the final stretch here. A lot is taking place. There are a lot of walkabouts tomorrow. There are a lot of course, motorcades tomorrow. Don't forget, of course, there are public meetings next week. Port of Spain, St. Joseph, Maruga, Tableland. Prepare yourself a lot as we come into the final stretch. And, of course, the big rally next Saturday. So you don't want to miss out on any of this. Lock on, take it in. As I make my way out, if you want to make your last effort to call in, those of you via WhatsApp, 494-0938, 494-0938 or 225-9790. I want to thank the good folks who, of course, we interviewed this evening. Dr. David Lee, the UNC candidate for Caroni Central, UNC candidate for Mayaro, Nicholas Morris, UNC candidate for San Fernando West, Dr. Michael Dolab, and my good friend, TV talk show host, Stephen Rees, who definitely put his 2 cents in there, making a lot of sense. So all of the candidates, the UNC candidates, wishing you all the best of luck. We are going to be here to support you. And of course, those are the winning candidates. And I want to say, of course, pleasant good evening to the screening committee and the executive led by Kamala Prasad Misesa. Wonderful job giving us the best of the best to come out and get into government and represent and deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Our time is up, folks. Master Control, I want to thank you, of course, and to everyone behind the scenes. We're going to have next week's Sunday show. Yes, we're going to be here next Sunday. Yes, in the evening, a lot of interviews, because it's going to be the final one before we go to the polls the next day on Monday, April 28th. So, folks, prepare yourself and be safe out there. Have a good one. Until next week, Sunday.
The Observer. Mickie K, Mickie K, Mickie K, Mickie K.